Om Shri Sairam. My humble salutation at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Brother Sai. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, my loving Sairam to all of you. Now I would like to recall the bhajan sung by Swami to make us understand the significance of the life's ultimate destination and the satsang. Sasangatve nisangatvam nisangatve nirmogatvam nirmohatve nishchalatatvam nishchalatatve jivan mukti. Now to attain the ultimate destination of life, that is the jivan mukti, satsang is the starting point. And today we have a distinguished speaker, Dr. Sai Kantha Rao, who is going to present a topic of his experiences with Swami. So let me take the privilege of introducing Dr. Sai Kantha Rao. His native is Palivela of East Godavari district, born to a pious family of Sri K. Prasada Rao and Srimati Seetaramulu. He is an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Sir had the first darshan of Bhagwan in 1961. Being a Balavika student himself, he attended the All India Balvikas conference in 1975 that commemorates the 50th birthday celebration of our beloved Bhagwan. In 1979, when Swami inaugurated Sri Sathya Sai Arts, Science and Commerce College in Prasanthi Nilayam, Sir was chosen few to pursue the BA degree in the college. Thereafter, under Swami's personal guidance, Sir took up MA and PhD from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. In 1989, Sir was awarded the doctorate in Indian Culture and Spirituality from Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Currently, Sir is the director of Arya Group of Institutions and he is also the founder of Palivela College of Management. He lives in Hyderabad and is an educationist and manages a string of technology institutions. For all the blessings that he has received from Swami, Sir aspires to be in Sai service all through his life and dedicate himself in the service of Sai. Now, today, Sir is also fortunate to share all his experiences as he is very fortunate enough to accompany Swami for all his Ooty and Kodaikanal trips. And he is also thereby blessed to receive number of personal interactions and guidance from Swami himself. And there he takes all those as life lessons. And without delaying further, let me request on behalf of you, Dr. Sai Kantha Rao, sir, to share his personal experiences with Swami. Sairam, sir.
Sairam, brother. Sairam. Sairam to all the devotees and Sairam to the organizers. My humble pranams to the lotus feet of beloved Sai Mother. Today, it's a great day. I am so happy and be with all of you in this satsang. And at the very outset, I should really thank the organizers who are conducting this satsang. And I'm also grateful to Swami and my, Satakoti pranams to our Sai Mother, who has been blessing me throughout for such great opportunities of remembering him always. And brothers, usually, as a brother introduced me, it was so nice for me, and I'm blessed because from my parents, they have been devotees, and they showed our thousand mothers' love, the love personification. Swami was my God, and nothing I knew more than that. I knew only Swami as my God. I should say this. And people usually in the initial stages, maybe 70s, 80s, after I came out, also some people, they used to ask, who is Sathya Sai Baba? Some questions like, is he a great saint, or is you believe he is a God? How do you believe God? And we don't know the definition of God. That's a different issue. And how do I define? And to make you all of us rather hear Swami's voice, who's Swami, who's Sathya Sai Baba? Brother, can you play that small song for me, so that we can start hearing with Swami's voice instead of me?
భక్తే లేదు.
Love has no birth.
ప్రేమకు ఒక డెత్ లేదు.
Love has no death.
Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. Love is my form, truth is my breath, this is my food. My life is my message, expansion is my life. My life is my message, expansion is my life. No reason for love, no season for love. No birth, no death, no birth, no death. Love is my form, truth is my faith, this is my faith. Love is my form, truth is my faith, this is my faith. Love is my form, truth is my faith, this is my మై ఫామ్ అంటున్నారు. కాదు నా ఫామ్. ఎవరు పాడతారో వాళ్ళకి ఆ ఫామ్.
My form refers to anyone who sings that way.
లవ్ ఇస్ మై ఫామ్ అని మీకు మీరే అనుకోవాలి.
You should say, love is my form, your own form.
నా ఫామ్ లవ్.
My form is love.
ట్రూత్ ఇస్ మై బ్రెత్.
Truth is my breath.
అని మీకు మీరే అనుకోవాలి.
You should say to yourself.
అప్పుడే స్వామి యొక్క తత్వం ఏకత్వంగా మారిపోతుంది.
Then you will understand the fundamental principle of Bhagawan.
లవ్ ఇస్ మై ఫామ్. భగవంతుని లవ్ అనుకుంటే ప్రయోజనం లేదు.
You should not think that God's form is love.
మై లైఫ్ ఈజ్ మై మెసేజ్, ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఈజ్ మై లైఫ్. నా లైఫే నా మెసేజ్ కాబట్టి నీవు మెసెంజర్.
My life is my message, so you are messenger.
కాబట్టి నీవు మెసెంజర్ అనుకుంటే నీ లైఫ్ నీవు మెసెంజర్ గా మార్చుకోవాలి.
Therefore, in order to be a messenger, transform your life so.
No death, no birth for life, no death for life.
No birth, no death for love.
కనుకని ఈ విధంగా స్వామి చెప్పినటువంటి తమకు తాము మార్చుకున్నప్పుడే పరిపూర్ణ ఐ అండ్ యు ఆర్ వన్ అనేటువంటి స్థితికి వస్తుంది.
So you should apply Swami teachings to your own self. Then you become one with Swami.
తత్వం అసి.
That's what is meant by Tattvam-asi, that thou art.
అహం బ్రహ్మాస్మి.
Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman.
ఈ సత్యాన్ని అనేక విధములుగా బైబిల్, ఖురాను, గ్రంథరాజ్యం, మహాగ్రంథం, భగవద్గీత అన్ని గ్రంథములు యందు కూడా అన్ని మతములు యందు కూడా ఈ సత్యమనే బోధిస్తూ వచ్చింది.
The same fundamental truth is taught by all sacred texts.
ఏ మతాన్ని కూడా మీరు ద్వేషించకూడదు.
Don't hate any religion.
ఏ మతాన్ని కూడా మీరు ఏ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క హాస్యాస్పదంగా చూడకూడదు.
Don't make fun of any religion.
నా మతం గొప్పది, ఆ మతం చిన్నది అనే తారతమ్యాన్ని ఏమాత్రము మీరు భావించరాదు.
Don't have any differences claiming that your
all
religion is
are
better.
one, be alike to everyone.
All are one, be alike to everyone.
ఆ సత్యాన్ని మీరు
Sairam. So we all heard what Swami is, and Swami is in us in the form of love. And actually, today morning I was just trying to hear some songs because let me confess, brothers, and when I was about to speak for Chennai people, I understand usually there'll be a question answer session at the end. I think I don't know how I got answer. I was thinking, and suddenly I got this, and I think all our clear up all the doubting minds with the Swami's message, and also hear Swami like this. This is what I felt, and brothers, I tell you, this Swami's lessons, teachings are so subtle, so simple, and so profound in the philosophical background, if you see, and where layman can understand not a single word which Swami uses. It doesn't use it just like that. It has every word is an inspiration and is an introspection for people, and also it is a transformation. When I say it, actually, I just remember now when when I read one of those conversations with Swami by Professor Kasturi, how some people pose questions to Swami also, and Swami beautifully answers it. He has got a clarity in what he is speaking and what he is doing. Is very clear, crystal clear in his, and that's very reason why he is able to deliver it to us very easily. And there's one poem which Swami has written to his brother in 1940s, very historical letter. Akilamalavadku Ananda Managurchi, Patti Kaaparte Deeksha Naku. Bida Sadalakaina Penipadalu Tirchi, Patti Kaaparte Vratamu Naku. When Kasturi Garu, here he was finding a small doubt here. He asked Swami, Swami, Veda Sadalakaina Penipadalu Tirchi, Patti Kaaparte, Chepatti Kaaparte, Chepatti Kaaparte, Vratamu Naku. When he said Chepatti, by holding our hands, he'll protect us. Either it is poorest of the poor or the richest of the rich from the difficulties or the huge sufferings which they incur. Then he asked, why you need to hold the hands to protect them? You can as well protect them from the interview room itself. Why like this, Swami? He said. And immediately Swami said, see, Kasturi Garu, and a blind man is trying to cross the road. When a blind man is trying to cross the road, you put on the light and ask him to walk. Will he be able to walk? What will you do? Usually, we hold the hands and then make him cross the road. And like that, we are all covered by the darkness of the ignorance. And Swami has to hold our hands and cross this Bhavasagara to that spiritual path. That's what Swami, that's why I'm trying to hold. And why I'm telling you this, because I am one such blind man whose hands were caught by Swami and trying to protect me throughout my life journey. And when I said every word, I just remember one incident. I should tell you this. Usually when we sit in the darshan, either in the sands or in the Kulwant, or previously in the sands, now in the Kulwant Hall or in the Purnachandra Auditorium, Hillview Stadium, the stages have gone up. And when we used to sit in the sands, Swami comes, he comes and picks up a letter from somebody and gives a smile to somebody and then talks a word or exchange a smile and then glance, and some people he'll grant us interviews, something of that kind. It used to be like that. And that we feel we were all sitting there and we think Swami spoke to him. And Swami took a letter to him. But I tell you, it is not just spoke to him. He has transformed that person by speaking a single word, one sentence. We don't know Swami and Swami. Between them it is. I just remember one devotee story which I should narrate it here beautifully. Trying to do that. The one person from abroad he had come to attend a conference in India, and he was staying in Bombay hotel, and he finished his conference, he finished his work, and he still has some 5-6 days to left out to stay back in India. So he was thinking India was known for mystics and the saints. If I can really come across one of those saints, one of the mystics people whom I can approach and then see, that will be a, that will be the fruitful trip for me. He was thinking. And next day morning he went, for a breakfast, complimentary breakfast, he was having it. While he was sitting there, he just overheard somebody, two persons, sitting next to the table and talking about Swami, Sathya Sai, Baba, Puttaparthi, they were talking about. He just heard them, went on hearing them while having breakfast, and he couldn't resist. Immediately after having breakfast, he went to them and told them, hello, good morning, he said, and asked them, you are talking about somebody by name Baba. Can you please tell me where I can meet him? Then they said, he is from Puttaparthi, Anantapur district, Andhra Pradesh. You can go, if he is there, you can meet him also. They also said, and how do I go? And he said, you can take a flight or something like that. They explained him. And what they did is, they have given him one book by name Man of Miracles by Howard Murphy, which is really, it had a lot of impact on the Western world, as Sachin Sundara had a lot of impact on this, our Eastern, in India more, and also throughout the world. It really transformed many people. And it was such a nice book, one must read, Man of Miracles. And they gave him, immediately he went to the travel desk and asked him, I wanted to go to Puttaparthi. Can you arrange a travel for me? And he said, yes, you can tomorrow. Then he booked the ticket. It gives such a vivid description of Puttaparthi, and that to that time how it was a remote village where you don't get bare minimum facilities. And he was also explaining how the ashram life would be. And while he was reading it, he also came to know not a comfortable accommodation he would get it inside the mandir. That time even outside there was no accommodation as such. Now we have some hotels and all, but that time there were no hotels. You could stay outside. Whatever the accommodation is available. Sometimes most of the devotees they used to stay under the trees, and I had the great fortune of staying there. And he went there, and while packing, vacating the room, in the room he found a big, turkey towel, spare one. He thought he may not get it in Parthi, so he packed it and put it in the suitcase. Then he went to the airport and flew to Bangalore. From Bangalore he came to Parthi. And after coming to Parthi, came from so far, thousands and thousands miles away from the mandir. People could give him some accommodation, one room, and where you could adjust. And after, there was no hot water facility that time, and he went for darshan. When he sat for darshan, he was, as any of us, would get attracted by Swami's beautiful darshan. That was in the golden sand, the pin drop silence. Swami was talking, and with a smile on his face, in the bright eyes, he was overwhelmed with joy to see him, and he thought he should have a word with Swami. He should have a glance, exchange of glance at least. He was feeling that way. Swami came And Swami is expert in creating a devotion in the newcomers. He'll make them pain for him. And he did not look at him. He looked at the person who is behind and took a letter to him. He spoke to the next person. He spoke to the left and right and behind also. But this man was, trying to take a look from Swami, and he could not get it. And his pain started increasing. He thought, at any cost, I should get a look from Swami at least. In the evening again, he sat for darshan, and he couldn't be successful in getting even a look from Swami. Forget a word from Swami. And he was really disappointed. Went back to the room and slept. Next day morning again he tried, and as usual, Swami was really, he was standing there and talking to the other person, talking to this person, he taking letters and not looking at this man who is, trying to look like this, and then he was, trying to get a look from Swami somehow, but did not get it. So what happened is, evening 4 sessions went off, and 5th session morning, he went and sat, and he could not resist. He thought he should, at any cost, I should today catch hold of Swami. Then he just, kneeled down, and then Swami said, then Sairam, he said, they don't even know that Swami is in the Sairam, because that time he got acquainted with the Sairam word, and he was so happy with that mandir, life and all. It was so peaceful. Swami immediately looked at him and said, "Hey, Donga," he said. Then Swami said, "Donga," he was so happy, filled with joy and overwhelmed with joy, and immediately after that Swami took some people for interview. The moment darshan is over, this man got up, and then, in all this ecstatic mood, he started asking that next to him, "Swami spoke to me today, you know that?" "Yeah, we saw Swami speaking to you. He called me Donga. Do you know the meaning of Donga?" Then they said no, because they felt a little shy to tell him he's a thief. So he said, "No, I don't know." Then this man again, he turned to the right person and asked him, "Swami spoke to me. Do you know the meaning of Donga?" He said, No. Then he went on asking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and then nobody is replying it. Then he thought, what is this? Nobody knows the meaning of Donga. That means Swami must have spoken to me in the God's language, a divine language, which these people do not know the meaning of it also. Then as he was doing it, suddenly one Sevadal person who was standing from far and seeing this man, trying to take attraction of everybody and asking something, then he came to him and asked him, "What do you want?" Then he said, "No, you know the meaning of Swami. Swami spoke to me in divine language." And Swami said, "Donga." He said, then immediately this Savadal person, he is a little more sensible. If I don't tell him, I think he'll go and tell even the shopkeepers outside. It may not look good also. Then he immediately told, "Donga means thief." This man got a shock of his head. "Thief? Do you know the meaning or do you know the divine?" No, it is in Telugu. Swami said, so it means Donga. Donga means thief. Immediately this man got a shock. That word made him introspect and see what had happened to him. He went back to the room, he washed his face and saw the towel which he has taken from the hotel. And he remembered, yes, I am a thief. Immediately he packed the towel, put it in the A4 cover, went to the post office, couriered it to the hotel address, and next evening, free of guilt, he sat for darshan. Then Swami looked at him and said, "Bangaru." Here the question is, when Swami said Donga, all of the people around, they thought that Swami spoke to him in a casual way. Well, it is not a casual way. It is a revelation of omnipresence for that person. It is also an introspection for that person. It is also a transformation for him. I tell you, I just came to know he was none other than S.N. Singh, who Swami used to call him when we were studying, call him as a topi wala. And he used to wear same cap and same socks, same color, safari, right from top to bottom, same color he used to wear. And later it he got settled at the lotus feet, serving Swami throughout. He's such an humble devotee. I tell you, that word Ganga, it is just a word with it, but every word is what Swami utters. That's why when Swami wrote Chepatti Kapadute, why Chepatti means why holding us? By holding our hands, because we are covered by the ignorance, no one can. That's why he holds us. And Sanmargamuni Chariyanchavarala. Again, the people who go astray from the righteous path, he'll hold them again. And when he holds them like this, it is, he protects not to go from in that path. When you are not supposed to go in that path, then he again makes us walk the right path. And again, one more, I'm telling you, this is, Swami is there only to transform people. It is not to reprimand us or, discard us or abandon us because of our faults or the mistakes that we commit. And, what had happened? What it so happened when two persons from Nigeria, and they came. When they came to Puttaparthi, they were also had darshan, and when they were having darshan, why I'm telling you this, there's only few words which he converses with the people, but it brings a lot of transformation. That's what I'm trying to tell this. And when Swami, these people, these two foreigners, because they were, addicted, rather habituated, and without it they cannot, really survive well. And so what happened is they smuggled two, alcoholic bottles inside the mandir, and then after darshan, they used to close all the windows and the doors, and just take two glasses, pour it in that, see to it nobody sees, and just say, take the glasses and say, cheers, 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 3 times they used to tell. Then drink, nicely sleep. Next day morning again they used to get up, attend all the Supravatam, Omkaram, Supravatam, Nagar Sankirtan, everything, and then go for darshan. This has become 1-2 days. It has happened like that. A third day, and they're about to leave 3 days, and they wanted again, a word from Swami, not knowing that what they were doing is a biggest blunder that they're committing. You know what has happened in the line when they were sitting there. Swami came to them. When Swami came, and they just got out, Swami, we take leave. Then he said, immediately, Swami told, what, Swami, very cheerfully, cheers, 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 3 times he told. These people got shock of their life. And all the people, they were laughing around. Some of the foreigners who were sitting, Swami was telling cheers to them. It looks like that. And, when it's happening that way, then they went back, went to the room and thought, how does Swami know that we are doing this? When, how does Swami know? That's what they're really, then immediately what they thought, really Swami revealed his omnipresence to us. And had Swami having known that we are going against the rules, he did not even utter a word to anyone. And at the same time, Swami is immediately they took out the bottles, packed it, went to Chitravati, threw it there, and resolved that we would never touch in their lifetime. And that's what what I'm trying to say. A word from Swami's mouth, it is an inspiration. It is also an introspection. It is also a transformation for any of us, for that matter. And when Swami writes it in all the Vahinis or Satsai speaks in the literature, it is Swami, every word is so powerful. It is like mantra. Every word is a mantra of Swami's side. Right? That's why even he said, Chepatti Kapar, why holding hands like this is for that sake. And going through all this, now I would see this is how the Swami's words and Swami's the ways of doing it, and my life itself when how I entered into Swami's fold, how beautifully Swami demonstrates his omnipresence or omnipotence and omniscience. And I tell you, in 1961, for the first time when I was 3 months old, we came to Patti as a group from my village, East Godavari. And at that time, of course, there was 60 people, we all came. And when we came in 1961, that time Swami gave all of us the old mandir as accommodation. And Swami used to, personally take care of the devotees, where they stay and what they do, because the facilities that we had were very scarce that time. But in spite of it, his love was in abundance. And Swami took all of us to Chitravati and took a group photo. That was the first group photo which I had when I was 3 months old. And later again, that time Swami used to give everyone a very good, sort of interview. Whoever comes, spoke to them, and then he also, used to really make everybody happy. That's what his mission was. And at that time in 60s, after we came back from Bharti, we all used to have a home bhajans at home. Every one of us for that matter. And family bhajans. Even today we conduct the family bhajans at home. And evening especially, the 6 o'clock. And we used to have those bhajans. In 1966 or so. And why I'm telling you this, with Swami is everywhere. Even today when I'm speaking, he is speaking and he is with all of us. He is with all of us, and he is hearing me. And there's no an inch of place where Swami is not there. And when 6 o'clock, my sisters and also myself and so 8 of us, we were sitting and then doing bhajans. We kept one chair for Swami. When we kept one chair for Swami and put the white cloth and a footrest, when we started doing bhajans, lo and behold, I'm telling you, with this naked eyes, we saw Swami physically appearing, sitting on the chair there, where we used to have, from my village to Puttaparthi, those were 3 days journey it was. 3 days journey. So far it was. At that time, Swami came and sat on the chair. When Swami came and sat, we were all, my sisters, they were all 14, 15 years old that time. I was only 6 years old or 7 years old. 6 years old. And I vaguely remember, but my sisters, they all seen it. And immediately they started shouting Swami. My father, who was at the backyard, doing some puja to the Tulsi plant there. And Nana, Swami has come. Swami has come. They said, Swami has come, Daddy. Please. Immediately when somebody went and called my father, and by the time he came, and imagine this, my sisters and all, they were small, and they saw Swami, and suddenly when my father came, Swami disappeared. They felt bad, but here, to acknowledge that he had come, what Swami has done, he left his footprints on the footrest with vibhuti, with a lot of aroma, vibhuti aroma, and the whole room is, the serene aroma was coming, and my father saw the footprints and then took some vibhuti, and then again he started coming, and that vibhuti was there for about 1 month or more so, and all the surrounding villages people, they came regularly and took vibhuti and then had Swami's darshan and blessings. It was such a nice, and one of the persons from my village, he went to Patti during that time. When he went to Patti, Swami called him for an interview and acknowledged that he had come. Actually what had happened, I tell you why I'm telling you, Swami he can manifest himself anywhere, anytime that he wills to do that. And it so happened actually in 1985 when Swami took us to Kodaikanal, and we all went to Kodaikanal, and Swami, for that Sai Shruti building opening event, we had the great fortune of, being taken by Swami for that building, and we all stayed in that Sai Shruti bungalow itself, just opposite to Swami's room. It was such a nice, wonderful experience. It was such a nice, wonderful experience because we were that proximity in my lifetime. I think I thoroughly enjoy every minute even today. And that time, what the session was, evenings we used to have a small sort of sessions, Kodai sessions in the sense Swami and only 18 of us, and 5, 6 other VIPs used to sit. And from let's say 5:30 to 7 o'clock, Swami used to talk, and Swami used to make one of us also talk every day. And it so happened it was a routine that time, and Swami asked one person, everybody, Swami is asking them to speak. And I, being a very bad speaker, I, I was a very bad speaker. I somehow wanted to avoid speaking in front of Swami. So I was sitting behind Swami instead of sitting at the Swami's feet. Usually I used to sit there, and because my turn might come, Swami might ask me to speak. So I was sitting at the back, little left side. And one day, but it so happened after 2, 3 days, Swami looked at me and said, "I no matter." When once Swami says I have to speak, right? Then I started saying it. Swami is offering my pranams, and then Swami said, Swami is omnipresent. Immediately, Indulal Shagar was there, and he was telling, no, you tell me how Swami is omnipresent. When he asked me, actually, speaking, speaking in front of Swami itself is a great difficulty for me at that time. And that question answer session means I was really worried. And I looked at Swami. Swami said, "No, me anubhavam cheppu how Swami." Then I said, "Swami, how Swami is omnipresent? You tell what had happened to you, something like that." Then immediately I narrated the incident which I narrated in my village. Swami was manifested, and Swami looked at me and said, he just smiled, and that was again re-acknowledgement that my. And Swami's his demonstration of his omnipresence is absolutely, I tell you, he is everywhere. He is, and it just not stopped there. He has been strengthening our faith. He has been strengthening our faith, and then in 1970s, the later generation, I should say, and we were having bhajans in the devotee's house. My niece and that time, of course, there are hundreds of people sitting in the bhajan, and then the Balvikas children were given, were motivated to arrange the altar and other things, garlands, Swami's photographs and all. And it so happened that was Sriram Navami day, and what they did is they put Rama, Lakshmana, Sita idols, and also Anjana Swami idol, and when they kept it, and so afterwards the bhajan started. These children were sitting there. There among two of my relatives, one niece and one more lady was there. They were thinking, "Arey, we kept their idols wrong. Instead of keeping Rama's idol next to Sita, they kept Lakshmana's idol next to Sita, and they kept Lakshmana's idol next to Sita." Then what has happened is, they were doing bhajans. While they were doing bhajans, they were thinking, if the God is really there, they know pretty well where to stand. Lo and behold, when all of them were seeing it, the idols were rearranged. The Lakshmana came and Rama came in the middle next to Sita, and Lakshmana came up to the left side of Rama. And everybody was watching it. When everybody was watching it, it was so nice. Lo and behold, this is only to strengthen the faith of the next generation. How Swami is holding the families and families and generations, and then putting them on the right path. This is what Swami does. This is, and I tell you how Swami is omnipresent in the sense he is there to protect us. Chepatti kapadute vratam hai. That's a word Swami gave. That's a promise Swami gave. He has been really fulfilling it. He has been fulfilling it that. And I tell you, Swami usually, very casual way, as I said, every word. He could have revealed it in a different way, but he has got his own ways of making you think of it. And I tell you, in the hostels, we all used to be, in the kitchen, and some of us, some few of us, the kitchen team, and Swami used to come every day to the kitchen. When we shifted from old hostel to the new hostel in 1979, usually, I tell you, we all used to stay in Mandir. In the old hostel, we call it as, that is next to the East Prasanthi towards north. There's a block there, first floor, second floor, third floor. Those are all dormitories where we used to stay there. And when we joined, actually, there was only one Eastern school building which was ready, and the institute was under construction, and the hostels also were under construction. And we all had the great, the blessing from Swami to stay inside the mandir, just opposite to Swami's residence, just opposite to mandir. And we used to sleep in the veranda and at the sands where Swami walked, and every day, morning and evening, we used to sleep there. That was such a blissful stage. I tell you, we can never forget those days. And later we shifted from this old hostel to the new hostel in 1980. December 25th was the inauguration day. And afterwards, the kitchen, Swami used to come every day, and then used to personally supervise where to keep all the where to keep the vegetables, and where to keep the atta, where to keep the maida, where to keep the rava and all. Swami used to personally tell us this is where you have to keep this, like that. And it so happened usually we used to make menu, and then people used to have a break. We used to make dosas and puris and chapatis. We used to roll, and we used to cut vegetables. And those are the days we really enjoyed working, in the presence of Swami. And that was a training Swami has given to all of us, and students especially. We all had a very, very good training. Some of them used to work in the stores. Some of them used to work in the dispensary. Some of them used to work in the Gokulam, and so that's how it used to be. And on Sundays we used to have, we used to have puris for breakfast. And when we used to have puris for breakfast, I tell you, and myself and my friend was there, Dr. Prasada Rao. He was also my classmate. And what we did, both of us, we served the students, and everybody, they went off for darshan. Later, somehow, that being a Sunday, it has happened, the puris were left out. Many puris were left out. When many puris were left out, I told him, we'll have a breakfast and go for darshan. So when everybody is left, and we were sitting there, as the puris were left out, why don't you eat little more? I told him. Then he was, of course, he had a very good appetite. Me too, for the time. That was a different issue. And when we are having breakfast, we had for about, let's say, I was counting it, and then he had number of puris. When I counted, it was 26 puris. Let me confess with you all. And I said, why don't you have a little more? I said, hey, come on. If Swami says that it's very bad, and nobody is there in the dining hall except you and me, why don't you eat? No, enough, he said. And afterwards, we took bath and went for darshan, and by then Swami has finished his interviews. And we were sitting at the back in the veranda. He was sitting on the right side, and I was sitting on the left side. Swami, after finishing interviews, he came out again, went to the devotees, took a round, and he came back to us, in between us, and looked at him. When he looked at him, he just gave a smile and told him, hey, Dunnapota, 26 puril chala, he said. Then he looked at me and gave a big smile. So what has happened? How does Swami know that we are eating so many puris in the dining hall when nobody was there? That's how that's all. And the people around, they may not know what Swami spoke to us, what is related to us on how Swami has, in a very casual way, he demonstrated his omnipresence and showing that he is every moment he is with us. And at the same time, he could have revealed his omnipresence in a for a different context. But why this? Because this is eating excessive food is not good. From then onwards, I think we started eating, reducing eating whatever necessary food we take. That's how Swami teaches. That is how Swami teaches his lessons, and then it's so Swami, his omnipresence is such. It was really, really, really great. And more than that, and his teachings, Swami is really, and it's. I was once what happened in the kitchen itself when we were making, usually we used to make a separate carrier for Swami, and suddenly Swami came around at 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm sorry, not afternoon. In the evening he came. In the evening he came around 5 o'clock. Okay. And he came and we were making something, and Swami looked at us. He said, "నాకు కూడా వంట వచ్చు." He said, "I also know cooking." Then immediately he took that, chapati making stick and started rolling. Very perfect it is, very perfect round it is. And he had, cut into two pieces. And then again he rolled it like this, he folded that. And then at the end, the small hole was there. He just blew it like this. Then when he blew it, it was bulging with Swami, the air that has come out from Swami's mouth. And then he covered it. Then he made around 9, 10, and then he fried it for himself. Swami himself has fried it and asked us to eat. When he asked us to eat, and that time I remember that Sri Gopal Rao accompanied Swami. He was ex-chairman of Andhra Bank, and he also accompanied Swami. And Swami asked us to eat when we all had that prasadam which Swami has made with his own hands. And Swami asked, "How is it?" We said, "How it will be? It will be, it's so nice it is." And then what has happened is that Gopal Rao out of, liberties, he's told Swami, "Swami, Dintlo Purnam Bedtaru," he said. Purnam means, they keep some sweet in that kajika. Then immediately Swami said, "Hey, you Brahman Bedkutari." He just like that, he said. Then he asked again, "You take that," he said. But there's one more Swami made, and he just showed among 9. There's no sweet there, and I asked him to open it. Then he ate that, then lo and behold, there was a ornament in that. By mere sankalpa, he can create anything, anywhere, anytime. That's what is Swami's omnipotence is. That's what Swami's omnipotence is. We do not know how Swami is. Where to understand it is very, 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 very difficult for us. And really, when Swami does that, we now come to know that it is to make us realize, Swami, you are with us. You can do anything, anytime. And the only thing what we need to do is just keep remembering him and also chanting his name throughout and have faith in him. A firm faith that we need to really inculcate, and that's what actually is really going to save us and protect us forever and forever. This is what I personally feel it. And as far as my and once actually what happened, Swami was, I was just trying to, give you some incidents, and then, see how Swami very casually he demonstrated his omnipresence and omnipotence. At the same time, he doesn't even waste a single word, and I said it. And while we had our degree, and then again after finishing my MA, we also had a PhD program. And while during our PhD program, actually, Swami's love is really, really, really thousand mothers' love. I should say this because how Swami is, the very fact Swami is, if I am like this, speaking to all of you, like, and it is only because of Swami and Swami's thousand mothers love. We usually, because whenever we get small difficulties, I understand that as it's understood. We sit on Swami's lap like a kid sitting on mother's lap, and she keeps crying it. When she keeps crying it, she doesn't know that she is sitting on the mother's lap itself. Where what else she wanted? We were sometimes we were pushed to that stage. We are on the lap of Swami, but we still cry out for many things without our knowledge. And imagine, Swami, when he gives us everything. It so happened once, I tell you how Swami's, it does, we went to Kodaikanal, when we went to Kodaikanal, and Swami used to send us after the breakfast, send us for a walk. And we went out for a walk. When we went out for a walk and we went to little corner, and then while we were coming back, Swami used to come in the again car and used to see us on the road while coming back to the size of the building. When we were coming back, after coming back, actually Swami again looked at us and said, "Hey, you did not see there was one person, one boy who was selling hats in that corner. Why don't you go and buy those hats?" He said. Then immediately we said, "Swami," then we went and then we all bought the hats. And we told him, "You're so lucky because Swami has, as you attracted Swami's attention. Swami told us to go and buy hats from you." And that little boy who was selling the hats, actually, he took out one from his pocket, a wallet, and then showed us. Today morning I was praying to Swami, "Swami, please see to it my business is good today." And his prayers were answered by Swami. And we went and bought, and again we came to Swami, and then we were wearing those hats. And this is how Swami looks into each and every devotee's heartful prayers he answers. And there's nothing, he answers everyone. When even in Bhakti, if you see for that matter, and I knew pretty well when the crowd comes for Dasara birthday, Swami is more happy only when he sees everyone. And he feels more satisfied when he looks to the devotees also. And in one of such occasions, I remember Swami, his love, I'm telling you, usually after we went for a literature survey to Mysore, and before that, actually, Swami had called us for interview in Parthi, and Swami was about to go to the Nagarhole, the bird sanctuary near Mysore. And Swami said, "I wanted to take you also, but your professor is asking you to go to Mysore for literature survey. You should go there." And we told Swami, please, we pleaded to Swami, please allow us to come with you, and then afterwards we'll go to Mysore. And he said, no, professor is insisting, because Swami once, he follows the rules and regulations in the protocol of the institutes very well, and then somehow he does that. And Swami went upon saying, no, you go. And then Swami gave us some, t-shirts and some money also in that interview, and then told, "You go to Mysore and I'll come and pick you up from there," something like that he said. And we went to Mysore and we stayed there, and of course that was really a great experience, because where we stayed in Parthi, the standard of hostel, standard of discipline, standard of devotion, the hostels that we maintain here is absolutely, there is a sea change. When we went to the hostel, we stayed where the B.Ed college hostels, Mysore University, there we were given accommodation, and my God, lo and behold, what a change. Then we felt, well, we were so secure in our hostels in Parthi when Swami told. Then I remembered the way of the type of behavior that what they had outside is absolutely different. I cannot explain it now. I cannot explain it, because here Swami is protecting us with so many from outside temptations and all. He protected us. He has been doing it by giving his name to us. And afterwards, after we finished our Mysore trip, we came to Whitefield, where Swami was there, and then after that time, we had a great chance. In the sense, a great chance in the sense, only four of us used to be there, and all other boys and the staff used to go to the institute, and we were from Littleton we came to, and then we were staying in Whitefield. Swami used to take us inside the trai, and we used to move around. Swami and everybody used to be there, and all time Swami used to give to us. And it so happened one of such days, actually, in those days, from people from Bombay, all the VVIPs, they have come to, to make a request to Swami to visit Bombay. And Swami inside the trai, there is a hall and there's a VIP lounge right side, and where all the sofa sets were set, and then Swami is sitting there, and all the VIPs, big industrialists, and then organizers, they have come, and then Swami make them sit on the sofas, and they were pleading Swami, Swami come to Bombay. I tell you, at least for about half an hour, 45 minutes, for every offer they make, Swami has a reply. And they said Swami will go by plane to, then he said, no, chartered plane, I don't want to waste devotees' money, he was telling. And of course, Swami was very particular about, wasting money, especially we always feel that it is devotees' money, and the purity aspect of it is absolutely, we all need to learn from Swami, and I really sometimes feel it. But Swami said it is not just money, it is the trust and faith that devotees had in me. That is what I am using it. I cannot afford to waste even a single penny. Imagine this. And later, actually, in one of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offerings, then they said Swami will go by road, because roads are also good. Because Swami is not accepting by going by plane and other things. Then immediately what Swami said, and imagine this love for the devotees that Swami has. He said, see, if we think like this, now Swami will start by road. Devotees will start standing on the road with the children and for days together, hours together in the hot sun, with irrespective of the climate there outside, weather conditions, which I don't want to. And he did not tell that everybody will come to know that Swami is coming. If they stand hours together, I don't want devotees to suffer that way just for my sake. This is the love Swami had for devotees. And imagine, I tell you, there's 1,000 mothers' love. He always looks for devotees. And Swami's love, when I'm saying it, it so happened once in Vrindavan itself, when Swami is leaving for Parthi. When Swami was leaving for Parthi, what had happened is Mr. Radhakrishna is a great soul, and he used to drive Swami's car. He was a student, and he always used to be inside with Swami, attending Swami. It was blessed actually. And that time when Swami was leaving for Parthi, devotees will be standing and then saying it, Bolo Bhagwan Sri Jai, and somebody breaks coconut and then garlands to the and showers some flowers like this. And one of the Savadal, he came, and when Swami entered, he opened the door and then closed the door. When he closed the door, everybody is saying, all the devotees were that Swami Bolo Bhagwan Seva Jai, and trying to take attention. Swami was smiling and giving a verse to all the devotees like this. And then after some time, when Swami reached the outskirts, Swami asked Radhakrishna, stop the car. When Swami said stop the car, then he immediately stopped. Swami said get down. He got down. He asked him to open the door. Then he came and opened the door. And I tell you, my God, his little finger was crushed in the door there. Then Radhakrishna asked Swami, what has happened? Immediately he took kerchief and then tied it. And Swami said, why did you should have told immediately, when they closed the door. Swami, appude chipte boundary kada Swami. Swami, what Swami said? Had I made an impression that my little finger got crushed, and he said like this, and the volunteer and the Savadal would have been sacked by all the devotees, and at the same time, which I don't want it to happen, and at the same time, Swami said, That volunteer would have been with the guilt throughout his life that he had hurt me. Imagine this is the thousand mothers love which Swami is really showering on everyone. He always looked for that. And he is absolutely selfless, selfless in the sense to the core selfless. And one of the interviews when I was sitting there and somebody, I tell you, I don't know when most of you can, even today you can observe, even now you can observe, all of us can observe, I'm telling you. And Swami, when he cuts nails to his fingers, he cuts to the deepest part of the skin. He cuts it like this, and it so happened a sort of small bleeding had come. And one of the students asked, Swami, it's bleeding, Swami, Anta, why you want to cut it so deep? You know what Swami has said? I'm just listening to this, how Swami thinks of others. Paropakararthamidam Sariram, when he says it, this body is for others, he means it. He said, devotees will be falling on my feet and taking namaskar. If this nail, goes into the eyes, I cannot see that. For that reason, he's imagine this is the amount of selflessness which Swami is really lived with, and it went on forever. And what Swami wanted is at the same time, he was telling, just be happy, your happiness, my food. Be happy, be always, loving, and this is what Swami really means it, and he says that. And I'll just give you one more because I was just thinking, and what Swami is. I'm sorry. Okay. And that's how Swami is love mothers, the thousand mothers love, when I say. And we usually, what happens when, and I just want to come to a conclusion because another 5-10 minutes I have it. I'll just give you one of the students. What Swami is the love for devotees, when I was speaking about it. And one of the students was accompanying Swami in the car. While going in the car, it was narrated by him, by one of my seniors. While going in the car to the Gokulam from Parthi, and Radhakrishna was driving, and Kutumbrao was sitting in the front, he was sitting at the back, and he was sitting next to him. While he was sitting next to him, and once the car reached the bus stand, Puttaparthi bus stand, suddenly Radhakrishna slowed down the car. When he had slowed down the car, then Swami looked at him, what happened? Then he saw devotees getting down from the buses and then running towards the car to have darshan. And he was so sensible, the person was, okay, they were all great souls, I'm telling you. Then immediately Swami pushed this boy who was sitting next to him, he kept the hand and then he pushed him back so that he can see the devotees and then wave his hand and bless them and all smiles. And it went for some time further, and this man who was sitting, he was, a little feeling guilty in the sense he was, blocking the way of, for devotees to have Swami's darshan, something like that. And then Swami continued to have a conversation with Kutumbrao, went to Gokulam and then came back. While coming back, of course, he took a little bit of precautions. And when he came to Varanda, and Swami told him this powerful statements which I wanted to tell again here. And when Swami got down, then he told that boy, from tomorrow don't come. Then this man, Swami, tappai payindi Swami, he said, Swami, it was a mistake. Swami asked, what mistake you committed? And he said, Swami, I came between you and this devotees. Swami said, no creature on the earth can come between me and devotees. This is a statement Swami had taken. No creature can come between me and devotees. This is the love Swami had for devotees. But Swami said, you did a mistake. Then he did not understand, he was perplexed. Swami said, what was, what is the mistake, Swami? When the people who were standing outside, they are concentrating on me. And you are sitting next to me, you are concentrating on them. You are concentrating on the world, but the world is concentrating on me. It is immaterial where you sit, but where you look is more important. Wherever we are, we should look at Swami, we should look to him and he look to us. This is a powerful statement, and Swami is where we stand, where we sit, where we are, it hardly matters whether we are concentrating on Swami or looking at Swami. That is what is more important. And Swami is all pervading, let us absolutely know that, because whatever the Shastras, whatever the Puranas, whatever the Upanishads, and whatever everything, all the quintessence of it, Swami has revealed to all of us for that matter in a very nutshell, in the simplest of the simplest manner, where a layman like me or a blind man like me can understand what Swami says. And I just close it with only one statement which Swami made. I was sitting at the veranda, I was reading one of his Vahinis, and I was telling one of my friends saying it, one of the toughest is the Upanishad. Then immediately Swami came from the interview room, and then he came forward and I was sitting in the middle of the veranda. He came to me and looked at me like this. I was kneeling, and then looking at Swami. Swami's face can be seen when he was looking at me. I was looking up like this. And Swami asked me, what is Upanishad? Then I said, Swami, just point blank. You know what, Swami, the definition of Upanishad, Swami said, అనంతమైన దివ్యత్వాన్ని అతి సమీపంలో ఉండేటట్లుగా నిరూపించేదే ఉపనిషత్. It is to realize or prove the infinite divinity in the closest proximity is Upanishad. And that is what Swami is. He has been blessing all of us, especially and every one of us, by always being with us, in us, around us, and guiding us. He is there to hold our hands and make us cross the Bhavasagara and make us walk on the spiritual path. And Swami had come only to, make us spiritually realized rather than fulfilling our mundane desires. Mundane desires is always there. I know our human nature is such. Whatever we ask for, we know it is. Swami is ready to fulfill it, no doubt about it. So that tomorrow Swami is there to, so that we will take what Swami gives us. Initially, he gives us whatever we want, and so that we get ready, he prepares us to take whatever he gives. And this is how Swami is preparing all of us for that matter. And really, I'm so thankful for this Chennai West district president, Mr. Sri Suresh Garu, and also other organizers who have, given me such a golden opportunity of remembering Swami and Swami's, leelas, and how Swami is really, showering his love and grace on all of us. I think I have not overshooted my time. I'm just on time, maybe could be that. I'm so happy and I'm blessed. And again, once again, I pray Swami to give me much more and more opportunities and to spend my time only in thinking of him. And I pray Swami, he is always, showering his love and grace, and at the same time strengthening our faith in him, so that we will always be holding his feet forever and forever. Thank you very much, brother. Sairam. Yes, Sairam. Hello. Hello.
So thanks a lot for your insightful speech, sir. It is indeed our blessed opportunity to hear you, your close proximity with Swami. And I mean, your talk help us to realize how Swami is, love incarnate, how he is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. So all your experiences that were shared make us realize this particular fact, and how Swami shows his selfless love towards the devotees is something that we got to understand today from your speech. And thanks a lot for your time. And uh, followed by this is, I will narrate for the benefit of Tamil viewers. I'll narrate whatever that is being spoken in the last 60 minutes. And followed by, we have a couple of questions, sir, for you. Would be great if you could answer that for our viewers. So, for the benefit of all viewers, I'll narrate it in Tamil. Uh, Sir, it all started with a beautiful video, Love is My Form, beautiful song. அந்த சாங் என்ன சொல்லித்து அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, சுவாமி he doesn't want us to understand Swami is love incarnate. இப்போ நம்மளும் our form is also filled with love அப்படிங்கிறது நம்ம ரியலைஸ் பண்ணோம் அப்படிங்கறத சுவாமி சொன்னார் அப்படின்னு அந்த வீடியோ காமிச்சது. செகண்ட் திங், வேரியஸ் இன்சிடென்ட்ஸ் லைக் கஸ்தூரி போய் சுவாமி கிட்ட டவுட் கேட்டது, அண்ட் அந்த ஆப்பிரிக்கன் பீப்புள் லிக்கர் கொண்டு ஆசிரம்குள்ள வச்சுட்டு 3 cheers சொல்லி சாப்பிட்டது, அதெல்லாம் என்ன சொல்றது அப்படின்னு சொன்னா சுவாமியோட ஆம்னிஷியன்ஸ், ஆம்னிப்ரெசன்ட் அண்ட் ஆம்னிபொட்டன்ட் இந்த ஒரு மெசேஜ் சுவாமி அழகா எடுத்து சொல்லியிருக்கார். அண்ட் அட் த சேம் டைம் whatever that Swami says, even one word, let's say for example 3 cheers அப்படின்னு சொல்லிருக்கார், தொங்கா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிருக்கார், இதெல்லாம் ஒரு வேர்ட் இருந்ததுன்னா கூட it makes us the transform from bad into good. அந்த டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர்மேஷன்ங்கிறத எவ்வளவு சிம்பிளா சுவாமி எடுத்து காட்டியிருக்காரு அந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் மூலமா. அண்ட் சாரோட ஃபேமிலி போட்டோ எடுத்த போது சுவாமி ஏதோ ஒரு டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல இருந்து சுவாமி வந்திருக்காரு. இட் இஸ் நத்திங் நியூ ஃபார் அஸ், பட் it gives this kind of experiences make us realize the strengthen the fact that Swami is omnipresent, omniscient and omnipotent. And Swami also gave a stamping and the vibhudiya and the feet footrest la Swami create பண்ணிட்டு போயிருக்கார். And so sir was also mentioning about how Swami cares for his devotees and the selfless love, how Swami cares for his devotees. He doesn't want to spend, he wanted to have a simple living. நான் ஃப்ளைட்லயோ நான் ஒவ்வொரு சிங்கிள் பணம் சுவாமியோட டிவோட்டிஸ் கிட்ட இருந்து வருது. So I should not be spending all my devotees money. So he gave utmost importance for devotees trust and faith. And Swami always wanted to be happy, and that is one incident sir mentioned, that Swami always wanted all of us to be happy, nothing but happy. And ஒரு revelation Swami சொல்லியிருக்கார் sir கிட்ட. So when sir was asking like what is Upanishad this Swami சர்வ இடத்துலயும் வியாபிச்சிருக்கார், but what is Upanishad? You have to realize the infinity with close proximity. அதாவது நம்ம சுவாமி சர்வத்திலையும் வியாபி வச்சிருக்காருங்கிறத எடுத்துட்டு, but we should also realize that Swami is there within me. In your close proximity you should realize that particular fact. Wherever that Swami is spread everywhere, but we should realize that particular fact that he resides within us. So that's the crux of sir's wonderful speech today. Sir, we have a couple of questions for you, sir, from the viewers. Might be I will combine 2 questions into one. That is, you being an educationist. So what is your experience that how Swami's divine help is helping you being an educationist? And one more thing is on the same topic. So, what is your advice to the youngsters as well as teachers in guiding them in the divine path set by Swami?
Sairam, brother, and the questions were certainly really admirable. But the second question which you asked, the message or the guidance, I tell you, I'm not at that stage where I can guide or give a message, because I'm just, as I said, I was just a blind man, holded by Swami and then trying to cross the road. And only thing, all of us, I can only say that all of us just pray to Swami, and Swami is there to guide all of us for that matter. And just follow whatever Swami has said. Very simplest form. Just love all and serve all. This is what I always feel it. And reminding all as is, for the youth, and they can always, imbibe the values which Swami has taught. In the sense, I'm not trying to, give a message of that kind, but just pray to Swami, and then as simple as possible, try to love everyone and then serve everyone as far as possible. This is what I can only say. And being an educationist, as you said, I only really learned Swami how beautifully he manages, how lovable he is to the students and to the staff, everyone. And it is only the love which, when you add love to medical medical field, it comes Medicare. Otherwise, it will become a medicine, something like that. It was. And when you add love to the education, it will become educare. It is educare. Only when you add love, and that love part is something very important for every one of us, for that matter, in a day-to-day life, in any field, for that matter, in any field, for which we need to have a broader understanding of a other person, and the forgiveness and the patience, the faith in God. These are the things which will help us. That's what I personally feel it, and this is what actually I personally feel. That's what I'm trying to tell it. I think I could reach the people who have questioned me this. Sairam.
Saram sir, thanks a lot. Uh, the next question will be how to develop faith for Swami. That is one question, and another one is, did Swami mention anything about the next Purna Avatar?
See, this is how to develop faith is absolutely, it is a subjective by nature. And secondly, it is one thing I personally feel, how I respond to whatever happens is God's will. If today I'm speaking like this, it is only Swami who has willed it, and that's why I'm able to speak it. This is what my feeling is, and this is the total surrender one need to have it, and everything that happens only by His will, and otherwise I would not have come across like this speaking to all viewers, and then you would not have called me. The very call from Suresh itself is prompted by Swami. That's what I feel it, and it has happened that way. That's how I developed my innate faith. In the sense, this faith, I tell you that all this now with the Bhakti Markas which we have, at the end of it, the total surrender which we need to have it to Swami, which is Atmanivedanam itself, is a big subject by itself, in the sense it is. See, there are again when we say total surrender, it is not that easy also. For which we once we say it, yes, Swami will take care of it. It's like the kitten, the kitten, right? The kitten, what happens? The mother will come and picks it up wherever she is. She picks it up with her mouth and then crosses the ocean or crosses the tree, takes her to the destination. And we are like a kitten. Just leave everything to Swami and he'll take care of us. That is the total surrender we need to have. We need to develop that. That is what is called as a Prapatti Bhakti or Pushti Bhakti. Pushti Bhakti is again, like otherwise a monkey which holds the mother monkey, like this, and the mother monkey will take the baby monkey to other tree. She jumps and takes it. As long as you hold the mother monkey, it is okay. If you leave it, and then you'll fall. And likewise, we have to hold Swami like a baby monkey, and then hold on to him. And it is Swami's duty to take us to the destination. And that's how we should, I think, for which we need to always just chant Swami's name throughout wherever we are, whatever we are doing it. That's what will certainly develop our faith in the Lord and Swami. That's what I feel.
Thanks a lot for your insightful response, sir.
Sairam, brother. Yeah.
Indeed, again, it's our pleasure to have you as a part of our satsang today. And we will close this satsang with global prayer. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagawan Shri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki
Jai Sai.